Oh, by the way, today is the first day of spring. So, happy spring. Or, if anybody watches this later who is in this southern hemisphere, happy fall. Out of all these... I love how people.com pops up as like one of the first articles on people seeing Bigfoot. Alright, so the ones that were in the 70s were related to what they called the Minerva monster. I might have to... I feel like I have possibly a book somewhere that mentions this. It may be one of these. It may be one of the other ones. So, 1978 was the last time there was a mass Bigfoot sighting in Ohio. Alright, current ones are in Portage County. According to this, they had like 10 people see it. Like the sheriff told the local news. So we have one in Newton, which is a township, on the 10th. And this one, so the March 10th sighting was reported to be something like a large black shadow in the trees between 8 and 10 feet tall. Here's a more interesting question. It is very vague. Like, how do they know it's a Bigfoot and not another cryptid? And this was at 4 a.m. with this particular sighting. It says, so, this particular one, the post that I'm looking at came from Bigfoot Society on Twitter, and it was part of a news article I was reading. So, just so we're all clear where this information is coming from that I'm looking up. So, it says that the resident was letting their German Shepherd out on a chain when the dog immediately went into a high aggression lunge towards the wood line. They observed a massive black shadow, estimated between 8 and 10 feet tall, crashing through the brush. The witness was clear this was way bigger than a bear. The most chilling detail, once back inside, this brave German Shepherd was visibly shaking with fear. And apparently they are known for their courage. Yeah, I mean, it could be a bear on its hind legs. Let's see. I think I'm fairly certain I have some bear sizes already written down in this book. Hang on. Brown bears are almost 9 feet tall, like very large ones can be almost 9 feet tall on their hind legs. They are 3 to 5 feet at shoulder and 5 to 7 feet in length. Black bears are 3 feet high on all fours and 5 to 7 feet when upright. And then bobcats are about 3 feet. So, it is possible that it could have been a brown bear. Though I don't know where brown bears are native. That was when that information I was reading just there was from when I was in, I think, Sicha? Yeah. In Sicha Hollow in South Dakota. So, yeah. It's 4 a.m. you see a shadow in the forest. Kind of hard to judge the size. Yeah. And yeah, I could have been sleepy. It is definitely hard to judge sizes, especially if shadows are involved and that you don't have a lot of natural light and everything. It's just out of curiosity. The moon was 57% full at that point in time, so it wasn't like a moonless night by any means. It was definitely there would have been some kind of light, but also, did he say? Yeah, it doesn't say like there was like a light on or anything like that, which having a light on at that time of night can either make things harder to see. Oh, you're all good. You can either make things harder to see if you have a light turned on because it's only lighting up part and creating more shadows, but also if you don't have a light on, it makes things harder to see. Like it's 6 one, half dozen the other as to how difficult and how much like visibility they would have had. I'm trying not to like kick any boxes underneath my desk. So yeah, it's interesting. And I'm curious to know what they mean by the dog was visibly shaking with fear when it was back inside. I had a collie, and you know, she would get scared sometimes, and like she would come and essentially try to sit in your lap, like she wanted to curl up right there with you. So I wonder if like the dog was doing something like that, or if it was something else. So let's just say, as a reminder though, of, alright, we're gonna find my bear heights again. Alright, so I feel like when it says, I pulled this information from two different things, 3 to 5 feet at shoulder versus 3 feet high on all fours. I feel like that's basically saying the same thing. Same thing when they say like in length, like when it's standing up on its hind legs. Alright. It's always good to have our animal sizes, so that way we know. Alright, so the next thing that they had in their post, the black subject pattern. We're seeing a distinctive biological shift as the surge moves east. The Western group in Manitoba reports of brown subjects 9 and 8 feet tall. So that very much could be a brown bear. I mean, it'd be a big one, but it's still possible. And you know, we're just getting into springtime and everything, so coming out of hibernation and looking for food, it would make sense that they would be in more populated areas trying to get a little bit of grub. And they might be a little bit skinny too, so they might be like taller and skinnier and not necessarily as easily identifiable as a bear. That's not to say I don't want it to be Bigfoot. Alright, the Eastern group, which was Garrettsville to Newton Township, they are now seeing a 10-foot black subject with incredible consistency. Big bear, yeah! It could possibly very much be a big bear. Big bear. Big Blair. My apologies to anybody named Blair. We all do want it to be Bigfoot. We really do. So let's see. On March 9th at 11:47 a.m., so almost noon, a 10-foot black subject on Headwaters Trail had a still like gait. It doesn't really say anything else beyond that. Let me see if it does. No. Alright, I was hoping maybe it said something below that. It did not. And on March 10th at, oh wait, that's what we already talked about, was the March 10th one, was the most recent at 4 a.m. The group is following a clear west to east trajectory, hugging the woodlines and green belts that parallel the, is it Mahoning River corridor. They have moved approximately 12 miles in the last 72 hours. That seems doable, right? I mean, it's not a lot of miles in a day. Because that's what, 3 days. I mean, 4 miles a day. That's not bad. I feel like that would be very easy for anything to do, for any number of reasons. Like I know I've said before, like mating and food are two pretty big ones. Human interaction, like blocking off areas with construction or clearing away habitats will, you know, flush things out. They're gonna have to look for more, so more habitable land. Sorry, I'm like reading in my brain. Kind of does the same thing. All right. So let's see. We have height wise 9 foot, 8 foot, 8 foot, 10 foot, 6 foot, 10 foot. Which I would be more willing to believe something being 6 foot tall, because I feel like even then, yeah, you could get black or brown bears that are that tall. You might even get, you know, I'm trying to think what kind of cat creatures. You may have bobcats or something like that, but they don't get quite that big. I have to look up all of. Let's see. I'm guessing the 9 foot was probably the one on the 6th, and the 8 foot was the one on the 7th. But it doesn't. This particular one doesn't give me a day. The one where it's 10 foot. Okay. This one was March 9th. Alright. Like their map has like things. You have to go like back and forth a lot because it's not all consistent in the way it's listed. Alright. That's fine. So, okay. A 10 footer. It's black. But it's still like gait. What does that mean? Like, was it a person walking on stilts? Like, that's just what I immediately think. Alright, so we've got that information. And again, this was from the Bigfoot Society's Twitter. Because it shall forever be Twitter and never X with me, because I just can't bring myself to say that. Alright. So we have our information about Bigfoot. Let's look at the Ohio Meteor. I'm glad you agree that it's Twitter. So according to this, first sighted 50 miles above Lake Erie, there was a 17,000-pound asteroid that exploded, I guess twice, because it said a second time, 34 miles away. Or, I'm confused. I'm trying to read like a transcript of something. Maybe it exploded first at 50 miles above Lake Erie, and then the second time 34 miles away, taking an unusual bright path over populated areas, and was nearly 6 feet in diameter. That's off the Weather Channel's website. My laptop has decided to slow down. Alright, so the meteor happened on St. Patrick's Day at 8:57 a.m. Eastern. It's interesting how they say the meteor hit Earth's atmosphere. It's crazy because, I mean, it does like hit. It's always interesting to me. Can't even fathom either. 7 tons. Like, I know it says 7,000 kilograms, but I can't even fathom that. You could say pounds, and I'm still not going to be able to fathom that amount. It says created over 200 fireball reports on the American Meteor Society website. Triggered sonic booms that were heard throughout much of northern Ohio, while scattering fragments in the vicinity of is it Medina County? Interesting. The journey through the atmosphere ended abruptly between the cities of Akron and Canton, according to their Meteor Society's map. Many of these folks are a bit haphazard in filling out these forms. Just talking about like the people who saw something and submitted it. Especially when it comes to time and direction. I've had many reports dated 2025 and several February. Therefore, this area may be off by many miles in any direction. Wow. It's thought that it was 6 feet in diameter when it struck Earth's atmosphere, but the individual shards you'll be able to find on the ground are going to be just between 1 and 2 inches. Several Ohio residents have claimed to have found chunks of the meteor, including one family who found a walnut-sized rock in their driveway. We haven't touched it yet. It's definitely black, like a black coal. You can see some areas that have been melted as it came through, I guess. It says to try not to touch any potential meteorites with your bare hands, as the oil on your skin could degrade well-preserved samples of primordial matter that date back to the formation of our solar system billions of years ago. That said, the ancient rocks pose no health hazard to humans. Meteors may be radioactive, but at levels far below being dangerous. I was hoping maybe it would show whether or not like if it had a name. Like, I don't really need video, so it's just more of if it had a name of the meteor, so that way I could look up that particular one. I'm already running into words that I do not know. I just say that because this is on NASA's website, and they are talking about, I guess, what the meteor is made of. A chondrite, I think. And it said the strewn field changes because these meteorites are less dense than the ordinary chondrites. I assumed when I made the original strewn film. So, I don't know what these words mean, but they are important words. Not like this. As a reminder, this strewn field map is intentionally simplified. In real life, there are multiple fragmentation events in the meteor, and each event scatters meteorites along the ground track, mixing the masses along the ground. See, this says that it was a 2-meter diameter object weighing around 6 metric tons, more of a small asteroid than a large meteoroid. So I wonder if it being made of the one thing instead of the other thing, and it being less dense is why it's also showing that it weighs 6 metric tons versus 7. I'd mostly just like to know if... I'm guessing they did not, have a name for this or anything. Mostly because it hasn't said it. Okay, my brain was thinking, it took a path from Akron to Canton, but no, it was, going and it ended somewhere. Alright, so let's see where I'm looking at for these other places, if I can find them. I'm not super familiar with where some of these places are, so I'm having to follow highways. So yeah, they are in a way, slowly. No, because that's even overshooting. If you're looking at the path of where we saw the Bigfoot sightings. I need more chocolate while I'm talking. I should, not while I'm talking, while I'm thinking. But the way they're moving, the Bigfoot patch group, whatever, the way they're moving is not moving in a way towards where the meteor was. See if my astronomy book, as old as it is, does have anything. No, it may not. I wonder how much this has changed, because it says many asteroids, even when close to Earth, are barely visible in large telescopes. But again, this is like from the early 70s. Probably not going to have too much there that's going to be all that helpful. So, I don't really think there's like too much that we could say that really links them, because like looking at where they are on the map, they're not super, super close. They are interesting. It's very interesting that these have happened. Now, I will say it also is interesting in the direction that the Bigfoot sightings are taking, that there is a state park in the area. Let's see. Maybe Bigfoot is a fan of astrological type things, or astronomical. I can't talk. Astronomical. All right. Did I say it right that time? I feel like maybe while I was trying to find a place, Point Pleasant may have popped up, but now that I'm looking, I don't know if I'm zoomed out too far. Oh God, I have lost all of... I've lost everything as to where I was. Where am I? Okay, there we go. Here at the end where my brain is fried. It's been a while since I've sat down and done even light research like this. Like, it's good for my head. It's good for my brain. And good for me to get back into it. I wish... I've got to figure out how to... Oh, no, you're good. You're good. My brain is just like... It's hit that peak. And it's... like... my brain's just kind of like peaked. So, let's see what West Branch State Park has to offer. Okay, so this park sits on a lake, which could, again, be a reason why we would see any kind of animals moving in the direction that they're moving. And this park also connects to the statewide Buckeye Trail. The landscape is marked by a large stand of beech maple woodlands with a variety of plant and animal life. I wish it said more about, like, how big it was. Here we go. Okay, so this is actually in the same county, too, as the latest sightings. The river was named for the Delaware tribe's word, I think it's Mahonic, meaning at the salt lick. That's interesting. I would like to know how, like, potential many acres are in this area. I do find it interesting that it says the lakes filled with sediment leaving boggy wetlands, which hiccup. It says the area contains numerous bogs filled with buttonbush, alder, I guess, skunk cabbage, and a swamp white oak, which to me, you have something named skunk cabbage and just bogs, you're going to get, some odor, which it's funny because like I mentioned with like the skunk ape in Florida earlier, the thing that people notice about them is the smell, so that's interesting. I wish though it would, like, again, tell me like how big the park is. And it's also interesting that the sightings seem to have fallen off. Oh my gosh. I bet you can hear my computer or my laptop. It's just trying its best right now. It does look to be a pretty good size area. Like, it genuinely would not surprise me if there were a lot of like cryptids and stuff like that in this area. I am so sorry that, like, you guys just like saw like nothing but my head for a second. But alright, so That is interesting. There's a couple things I wanted to look up right fast. I want to see if it will let me see the historical forecast. This is nice. I can actually look up the weather for each of these days, which it doesn't look like there was anything major. So the first started on the 6th, 7th, 9th, and then the 10th. It's actually like a lot of wildlife areas in here. I'm going to look more into some of these areas just in general. See if I can just locate any other like general information about them. I'm gonna have to get used to now to where I've moved my camera for the day, but it's okay. My bigger question is, where is this one place fucking located? See, I'm not entirely sure where Headwaters is. This is just really... Shit, where's my fucking map? I done lost all my shit. Alright. I'm either too zoomed in or not zoomed in enough. I don't know. But like trying to base it off of... Alright, here we go. Here's Headwaters. And there's a farm. I think that's actually what I see. It's Headwaters Trail Farm. So... And it is near a bog nature preserve. And so it's like the areas that these are at, I mean, they make sense for there being a potential Bigfoot sighting. Alright, so what were we looking at? We were looking at the weather. Our historical weather for these days. And honestly, there was nothing really noteworthy in comparison to other days, with the exception of on Tuesday, the 17th, when the meteor shower came through. It was much colder, which I know I even dealt with here in North Carolina. So we were all kind of dealing with that temperature change. No precipitation during those days. So it wasn't like rain or anything like that. On the 14th, it was a particularly windy day in comparison to the other days. It did spike on the 14th. But there was no sightings on that day, so that don't mean shit. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what we could be looking at in terms of any kind of connection or anything like that. I am interested in doing a little bit more research on the 1978 sighting. Is in, I think it's Minerva, Ohio, and it is roughly 20 miles east of Canton. This was in August. Which I will only point out, that August 1st is halfway between the summer solstice and the fall equinox. So the interesting fact that today is the spring equinox is interesting just in the sense of seasonal changes with Bigfoot sightings. They describe a creature they saw as 7 feet tall, weighing about 300 pounds, covered in a thick, dark, matted hair that was so thick and shaggy that it completely obscured the humanoid creature's facial features. The most dramatic of several other sightings came on the night of August 21st. The Catons were entertaining friends and family, and they heard strange noises coming from the direction of an old chicken coop in their backyard. They could see something moving in the dark, and there was 2 pairs of yellow eyes reflecting the light from the porch. In order to get a better look, an 18-year-old Scott Patterson got into a car, turned on the headlights, which revealed the owners of the eyes to be 2 large cougar-type felines of some sort. At that point, a large bipedal creature like the one from the gravel pit stepped out in front of the cats as if to protect them. So, alright. Go back up to the gravel pits. In August of 1978, Evelyn and Herbert's grandkids ran up to the house saying that they had seen a monster in the gravel pit nearby. They went to investigate and found the kids were telling the truth. They too saw a monster in the gravel pit. Okay. So, and that was the one they described as 7 feet tall, weighing 300 pounds. And then it protected the kitty cat types. The sheriff was called, area investigated, but no monster or his pet cats were ever found by law enforcement. So, no monster or his pet cats were ever found by law enforcement, although them and others in the area continued to see the monster, sometimes accompanied by a pair of what they described as cougars, mutant-like cat creatures, or small versions of itself going on about all fours. I'll make sure I have all my notes good and noted. Just out of curiosity. It's about 30 miles from Minerva to West Branch. Just the state park that I've saw. Just in general curiosity, which means like to Garrettsville and the locations of the other sightings. It's even further. Not that that really makes that much of a difference in the course of decades. I mean, we're talking 1978, and it is 2016. My brain is fried, you guys. So, I mean, obviously, migration and stuff like that can happen. I want to look through my books some more to see what some of these things have to say, especially now that I got a name for the previous sightings, to see if any of them are mentioned in any of my books, and just in general some of the other locations. And I'm just going to kind of play it by ear. I may end up doing an actual piece on this. I may not. We'll see. Like I said, it's been a while since I've deep dived into any kind of research, so we may just kind of look to see what we've got going on in the Ohio area in regards to Bigfoot, and just keep digging until I feel satisfied that I have done all the digging I can do.